Hi everyone and welcome to Season 8, Episode 3 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So lots to get through today. Some transfer dealings for you. We've just been through the January transfer window. 3 guys have come into the club, which is interesting. And we've also got a game against Swansea in the Championship. And things are going pretty well overall. So let's get into it. So let's get straight into the league table to show you that we're currently sitting in 18th position, which is pretty much as good as I could hope for, really. You can see after 30 games that we've played, 10 wins, 5 losses, 15 losses, 5 draws, should I say. So it's kind of going as I really would hoped it to have gone. We're not in the relegation zone at the moment. We are, about 6 points clear of it just as we speak, which I'm really happy with for the first season in this particular division, and with a squad that is far below anybody else's in terms of how much wages we're paying out, also the quality of it in certain aspects. I think we're doing pretty well, to be honest. And so overall, I'm very, very happy. We have had a bit of a change in style of play recently that we'll get into in a minute. And to do that, to help us show when we did that and why we did that, let's go and check out the most recent results. So this is the run of fixtures we've had recently. I think the last time you and I were together, I can't even remember now, to be honest. It feels such a long time ago. I think it was in October time, wasn't it? So it was around this Newcastle game, was it? I think it was. But I've played quite a lot since then. We're only doing 4 updates a season, so I had to move it on quite a long way. You can see that after the Newcastle result that we got, in early November, we went on a really good run in the Papa John's Trophy. We got a win, but we got 3 wins in a row in the Championship, which was really helpful to us, and 2 over some very big sides. That 4-0 win against Derby was incredible performance. And then it kind of went slightly wrong a little bit, and we went on a bit of a dipped run of form. We won again in the Papa John's Trophy, which we're still doing really well in, actually. And against Solihull Moors, we got through in the FA Cup comfortably. But around that, there was a series of really poor results and really poor performances. And it was this 5-0 performance against Stoke that made me, in the end, decided we needed to change things up slightly in terms of how we were playing. So if you remember, up until this point, we've been in a 4-4-2 all the way through for the last several seasons with Truro, and that's no longer the case. So we'll check that out in a minute, but that was the point where we needed to make a change. We did make a change, and you can see that it worked pretty well since then, really. Things have had a bit of an upturn in form. We've been through the January period, got several wins in there as well. We're still in the Papa John's Trophy. We're in the semi-final stage now against Arsenal under 23. So that's going to be a tricky game, isn't it? That's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. We went out, unfortunately, in the FA Cup to Watford, our first Premier League opposition in the FA Cup this season. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but we were not anywhere near them, to be honest. They played really well and went through 4-1. Other than that, form has been pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with it. A couple of losses here and there, but that's the inconsistency of our form. Today, as I say, we've got Swansea. If we go and check them out, you'll see that they're sitting in 22nd in the Championship, so they are in the relegation zone at the moment. So it's a good team for us to be playing at this point. So overall, I think form has been pretty good, and that leaves our morale quite high, I would suggest. All for today's game against Swansea. But before we deal with them, let's go and check out those transfers. So, as I say, we've got 3 transfers to go through, and one of them I'm quite excited about. The other 2, the first 2 that we'll look at, are kind of just squad players to fit in and help us out, and they're 2 central midfield players, which I felt we needed a little bit of fresh blood in because of the tactical change that we'll get to in a minute as well. So, Hugh Botel comes in from Cardiff. on a minimal fee. I think what you would describe this guy as at 21, there's room for improvement, but overall, he's an okay player. And that's kind of what I was looking for. A bit of a bench warmer here and there, somebody who can come in and play a couple of games here and there and just keep ticking over and get a little bit better over the course of this season and maybe next. And hopefully we'll have a reasonable championship player on our hands. But at 21, I thought it was worth bringing him in. He's got some good attributes in terms of off the ball vision, his stamina, his natural fitness are good, his first touch is excellent. So there's some good basis here for a good player. Got a little bit of improving to do, but Hugh Botel comes in and will play a rotating role from midfield, basically. So he was the first one. We're also now playing a holding midfielder in the defensive midfield position. And I needed one more player to come in. Rossiter, if you remember, in our squad already can play that role and has done a little bit. This is now the other guy that's coming in to play in rotation with him. Has not set the world alight so far. You can see his 6.57 average rating on 13 appearances. But he's doing all right. He hasn't played all the games. Rossiter has played some, but as a rotating option again in that holding role, his tackling could be a little bit better. His vision could be a little bit better, but this was as good as I could find for the next half season, basically, just to get us into a new style of play. And another reasonably good player. Doesn't set the world alight, but isn't terrible either. So Ryan Wintle comes in and plays in that holding midfield role. So the third one from Manchester City for a nominal fee of 170. Sorry, the other two were in on loan, I should have said, not fees. So they'll be half a season, which is why it's okay that they're not the best. They'll be gone at some point. Maybe we'll keep Botel on if we can. But McCann is somebody I'm really excited by. Manchester City, we got him for 170 million. This guy is only 19, and I think for 170 grand, did I say million? I can't get my words out today. Anyway, let's go and have a look at him and stop faffing about. This guy, for 19 years old, 170 grand, I think is an exceptionally good buy for this level of football. Yes, I'd love a little bit more positioning, but we can train that into him, hopefully, by some good training programs and also by getting him some game time, which will be great. But the rest of it, I think for who he is and where he is at the moment, I think we've got a bit of a bargain on our hands, to be honest. At 1.3k per week on wages, I don't think is too high either. And this guy can develop for us. So he comes in. He's only played once for us so far, but started really well when he did. So that bodes well for the future. So Mark McCann, I'm expecting big things from him once he settles in and once he begins to improve some of those attributes a little bit. I think we'll do all right with him, and he's certainly better than what we had anyway. So that was the other thing to say. So those were the three players I bought in the transfer window, and they were all bought in with the understanding that we have changed our formation. It's not a formation that will set the world alight. We see it in pretty much everybody else's, I would suggest. But let's go and check it out anyway. So here we go, a 4-3-3 formation, a holding midfield player. We, as I said before, we've played two up top, and the reason that we changed, one was because of that poor run of form that we spoke about, but the other reason is this. If we go and have a look at our team stats for the season, we've scored the most amount of goals of anybody in the Championship, but we've conceded the most amount of goals also in the Championship, and that's what we had to address. At this point, it's not as important for us to be outscoring everybody if we can stop conceding so many goals. So my intention was to try and balance the team slightly better for this level of football with the players that we've got. So rather than playing two up top and two in midfield, I've dropped one of them back into this holding midfield role and dropped a striker, basically. Turk is an absolute superstar for us. Ziga Turk, he's been on form all the way through the season. 28 goals in 30 appearances in the Championship, I think is fantastic so far. And unfortunately, of course, he's on loan from Middlesbrough, so there's no guarantee we can keep him at the club. But he has been phenomenal. But even if we don't keep him at the club, if we go through our other striking options now, some of which are not playing as regularly, so they are getting a little bit sort of antsy about that here and there. But McJanet, for example, 9 in 9 starts. That's not too bad at all. We've got Mellon, who I suspect I'll probably have to cash in on at some point. He's not going to be a starter for us anymore because we've dropped that one out of the two-man attack. And his finishing isn't high compared to some, and his composure isn't as high, but he works off pace. But he's worth 1.2 million. We're probably going to have to cash in on him at some point. But he's got 11 in 23 starts. He was the one that came out of the side. And the fourth option that we're going to talk about is Aaron Hull, who is also the club captain, I believe. You can see 14 finishing, little bit less pace, but he's got 8 in 9. So we've got some good striking options if Turk doesn't stick around next season. But overall, I'd like to keep him if I can. And we'll probably have to get rid of one or two of those strikers just to balance the squad up for next season if we stick in this 4-3-3 formation. But for now, we're playing in a counter-attacking style. So we're trying to soak up a little bit of play and then use the wide areas specifically to get back at the opposition as much as we can. The only little minor knock we've got is for Wintle. He's just coming back from a little bit of an injury, so he's out of the lineup for today. So we've got Roberts in goal, Fink on the right back, Fenn, who's taken over at left back. He's done fantastically well for us recently and is a good young prospect at 19. So he comes into the starting lineup. Reddy and McCann in central defence. Rossiter, White and Williams in central midfield. Wright Phillips on the right. Sarmiento on the left and Turk up top. And a bench of Wharton, Cerula, Botel, McManus, Knowles, D'Souza and McJanet. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So for a team talk, I've just said go out there and impress me. I've pumped the fists and tried to rile them up a little bit, give them some passion in their game, and we'll see whether that works for this particular outing. Obviously, we're at home, which is helpful, and the stadium is looking pretty packed, which is great. We're currently not in our normal stadium. That's being renovated with a couple of 1,000 extra seats, and that's coming in a couple of months, I think. So we're currently out of the stadium somewhere else at a 6,000-seater stadium, which compared to the fact that we're in the same division as Newcastle with their 52,000-seater stadium, you can see how far behind everybody else we actually are. But ultimately, I think we'll be okay as if we can stay in the Championship for the next few seasons and continue to build the club. By the time we've spent a few seasons here, we'll have built it into a better position where we currently are. But it's all about staying in the division just for now, and currently that's what we're aiming to do, and looks like we're able to do. We get a good opportunity there off a corner kick, a good header at goal, but doesn't quite manage to go over the line. Sarmiento, again, good, a bunch of highlights so far, drops it back to Williams. Can the cross come in? No, he drops it back. Rossiter and White play a little bit of keep ball in central midfield. Fink on the right-hand side, so we switched it from left to right. Cross comes in, and there is the goal machine of the season. Turk with an excellent finish. As long as he held his run long enough to stay onside, that is an excellent goal. We worked it from left to right, played keep ball in midfield for a while. Fink gets it out from his feet. A fantastic run at the near post and slots it in at that near post from a real small amount of space that was there. Did he stay onside? Oh, what's it going to be given? Tight offside. Is that off? It's been given as a goal, which is fantastic. It was very, very touch and go. But leading up to half-time was a really good time for us to score. And we do go in 1-0 at half-time. It's been a kind of... there were a few highlights to watch, but a kind of a quiet game in terms of shots on target, only one each. The XG rating is not particularly high for both sides. We've dominated possession a little bit, and our passing completion is good. So overall, I'm relatively happy, but a few more chances wouldn't go amiss. So we'll go with outstretched arms and say I'm happy with the performance so far. Keep it up. and then we go out and we go straight in and demand more from them just to keep pushing them forward and keep bettering themselves if possible. A few more shots at goal would be fantastic, but as long as we can now keep a clean sheet, which is something that we haven't been doing often enough, as I've said earlier in the episode, then we'll be okay. And that's the difference in our style at the moment. We're trying to be harder to beat. It might not be so entertaining moving forward potentially, but overall it will get us some more points potentially. Look at this group of players that all basically are in need of a rest, aren't they? So we're going to do that for some of them. Wright Phillips comes out, Knowles comes in. We can take Williams out and put McManus in, and we can take White out and put Botel in. So we're going to do that, all of those three things, which is great. Do we switch those two round? Yes, we do. That's how we work them into the positions that they then play. So all of those three players that needed a rest can come out, and we'll go back into the team, to the game, should I say, and see if we can see this game out. We sit in a mentality of balanced at the moment, so we could go cautious if need be, but I sometimes find if you change the mentality, it really does impact the style of play that you have and the way that you play. And it looks like Swansea are going to have one last go at us with 5 minutes to go. They're working the ball nicely through central midfield, and there's a good strike at goal, and they win the corner. So the goalkeeper got in the way more than anything. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Straight away up the mentality into attacking. That's really unfortunate. A good corner kick into that near post. He leaps above the defender who had got on his heels a little bit and puts it in at that near post. And it looks like we're going to lose out on those 3 points just at the last minute. I'm still not terribly disappointed with another point. It wasn't a particularly entertaining game in a number of ways, but I think that we are still looking better than we potentially did a couple of months ago when it was all just a bit erratic. 9 shots at goal, 5 on target for them. We did not improve in the second half at all. 5 and 1 remained our shots at goal and on target. We remained ahead in possession. We did pretty well in passes completion. You can see their XG rating doubled in that second half and ours didn't. They deserved their goal ultimately. We hung in there for a draw at the end. But as I say, overall picture, I think that's another point on the board and we can't be too disappointed because I think things are going still very, very well this season. So after that draw against Swansea, we do remain in 18th position, which is absolutely fine by me. The only thing I care about this season is avoiding relegation. So if we can do that, I absolutely will be happy with that. We've got some tricky games coming up. Newcastle on the horizon, Norwich on the horizon. Arsenal under 23s in that Papa John's Trophy semi-final is going to be tricky as well. We've still got some big sides for the rest of the season to play. Leeds United are in there. Birmingham, who we beat comfortably earlier in the season. And Brentford, who were in and around the playoffs and automatic promotion spots. But what we're going to come back for next episode, as I say, 4 catch-up episodes every season for this particular series moving forward. So we come back for the final day of the season for Nottingham Forest away from home, just to see where we finish in this particular division. As I say, if we avoid relegation in our first time in the Championship, having jumped so many divisions so quickly in this save, I will be absolutely ecstatic by that, and then we can work on continuing to improve the squad as we move forward and improve the finances and the facilities and all those kinds of things as well. We're going to be in the Championship for a few seasons, I hope. That's the plan anyway, just to build us up. So come back next episode and we'll figure out where we finished in this first campaign when we play Nottingham Forest. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing great and well and looking forward to the sunnier weather coming. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Check all the links in the description below to things like my Twitter account, my Discord, the United City Discord, community Discord. Come and join that. There's a Patreon, there's a merchandise store, all the good stuff. Go and check that out for me. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.